tank's super cloudy. When we're on vacation. Too much light, maybe? Let's check it out.
Too much light. Maybe. I wanted to give you folks a idea of a hypothesis I came up with starting from the day I left to the day I came back and why my tank is currently in the state it's in. So from the earlier clip, you saw that my tank was really cloudy and there was a lot of reddish brown debris, algae, food buildup on my rocks. So let's talk about why I think we got to that point. So I left for about 7 days, came back for 12 hours, left again for 3. I had somebody take care of my fish while I was gone, and they followed my instructions to a T. I left out one part, light. I probably get about 5 to 6 emails a week regarding why is my tank cloudy, why do I have algae buildup, how long should I leave my light on? And I tell everybody the same thing. Depending on the type of light, 4.5 to 8 hours max, depending on how much ambient light you're getting from another window. Feeding wise, I've already done a video on it, and you should be good. Well, that didn't happen in this tank while I was gone. My light was left on for about 14 hours a day. Yeah. 1, 4. So the conclusion I was driving down the road and I could see it from the road that something was wrong with my tank. And the person that was watching my tank, it's not their fault, by any means, minus being a little bit vigilant in terms of what was going on in the tank. But we can't expect people that don't know anything about fish to understand what we're doing, what we're trying to achieve, and the perfection level that we're trying to get to. So I came in, I looked at it, I had 6 dead fish. Yes, 6 dead fish. My whole background was a lot more brown red than it was. This middle rock literally was almost all brown. I did not clean it. The only thing I did was take out all 6 fish immediately. I had to go to bed. It was almost 1 in the morning. I looked at the tank. I was extremely upset, frustrated. Every emotion you can think of, that's what went down. I lost pretty cool looking fish. Awesome fish in terms of what I thought were awesome because I actually like the fish. I like all my fish, but there was one in particular, I had a midnight that's completely gone. And thank you, Yoshi, for feeling the emotions. The bird is right here. So I couldn't figure out why it got to the point it did. And I came down to there was just way too much light. The person had turned the light on at 7 a.m. I was home at 12:30. By the time I finished with the tank, it was 1 o'clock. The light had never been shut off. That was just one day. So the hypothesis I came up with is I had quite a few big fish in there. Number 1, I had a Venustus in there that was really big. Most of you have saw it. I got it from the Cichlid Shack. Well, the light awoke the beast. Yeah, the light had awoken the beast. That fish was doing perfectly fine in this tank until the light stimulation. So not only does leaving your light on, in my mind, create a harvesting ground for algae, for you name it, it harvests. Anything that requires light was getting it. I have 3 current Satellite Plus lights on here at 36 inches. So I've got 3 of them. So they overlap. So for 14 hours a day on average, the light was just on the fish, on the rock, on the sand bed. Person was feeding them every other day, just like I say in my video. They were feeding strictly krill. They couldn't find the food underneath the tank. I did not tell them specifically where the food was. So there's a little bag of krill gold on my desk, and that's what they were grabbing. Yeah, that's not nice. So what I thought happened was, for 14 hours a day, these fish were under bright light. They weren't allowed to rest. They weren't allowed to sleep. They were getting overstimulated. That awoke the first beast. The Venustus must have went on a killing spree, and I'll tell you how I got to that hypothesis in a second. He killed probably about 4 of those 6 fish. The other 2, I think, were just overstimulated, potentially frightened, overwhelmed. The water quality had drastically changed, and they just went belly up. The water then got a cloudy hue to it from not only the 6 dead fish, but the buildup of algae, the bloom that was happening inside the tank. And I did a 50% water change. 50% instantly. I then took the Venustus out and put him in a 29-gallon tank in the garage. So I've now lost 6 fish, my tank is in dismay, and I had to leave again in less than 12 hours. So I go to work, I come home, I complete what I needed to complete. I did not feed the fish. To me, they were probably getting overfed along with the overstimulation. I shut the light off, I left my blinds open, and I left for 3 days. Well, actually, I left on a Friday, got back Sunday evening, so 4 days. I then turned the light back on, and this is exactly what you're seeing when I'm seeing it. You're seeing no dead fish. The brown off of the background in this rock has been significantly reduced. That's probably from the bottom feeders. The fish were probably picking off of it. And I've got a couple of bristle-nosed plecos in here that do an amazing job when they need to work. So there is such thing as too much light. There is something called awaking the beast. That Venustus was in his own world. The overstimulation got to him. He tore up fish, and I know this because I took the 2 biggest fish that were in here, I put them in the 29-gallon, and when I came back, that Venustus had destroyed the other fish. Lights off. I awoke the beast. He's never going back in this tank. He's done some damage to a few eyes, some fin nippage, but the big moral of it is too much light. 4 to 8 hours. I shy away from 8 hours because I don't want to say most people, but a lot of people put their tanks in a room where it gets ambient lighting. So I typically leave my light off until I get home in the evening, about 6:45, 7 o'clock, and then I keep it on until about 11 when I go to bed. You can put it on a timer. You can automatically feed your fish with an automatic feeder. Takes a lot of the interpersonal connection that you'll have with your fish and the hobby itself, because now it's just all automated. But 4 to 8 hours a day light, that's it. Unless you have a special tank. I'm talking freshwater here. I'm not talking coral, I'm not talking saltwater, I'm not talking planet tank, I'm talking freshwater African cichlid. 4 to 8 hours max. I shy away from the 8 hours because of the ambient light. You don't realize the amount of light that you get from outside. One example is, there's somebody in Australia that was emailing me, this was years ago, about when I first got really into African cichlids. And they were emailing me saying they couldn't figure out their freshwater tank. The lighting was only on 6 to 8 hours a day, but there was something causing these blooms of algae all over this person's tank. They did the blackout method, they tried everything, they reached out to a bunch of different people. And so we decided to FaceTime each other. And as we're FaceTiming, I asked him, is this what your kitchen living room area looks like all the time? They said, yeah. Well, we came to the conclusion that when the sun rose to the highest point, it was beaming directly at this tank. So what we did was we reduced the amount of time that the light was on, because the light and the sun were on at the same time, just increasing the potency of light. So we reduced that, and honestly, it helped dramatically. That person ended up going on to have a saltwater tank. That person is Adam Pooley. He doesn't do much YouTube videos. He does some Instagram and Facebook stuff, but he has an amazing saltwater tank now. But that just goes to show you that light can do drastic effects on your tank. But it happened over Thanksgiving. It happened while I was away on my wife's birthday. And I'm still thankful that there was somebody there to take care of the fish. I'm thankful I didn't lose all my fish. I'm thankful there wasn't a crack in my tank when I came home. I'm thankful that the fish that I do have left are still brightly colored, still active. Some only have one eye now. But overall, light can be a big, huge factor in your tank. If you have checked your filter, if you have checked your feeding, if you have checked the fish itself, and you're still finding that there's cloud and algae buildup, check your light. Check the ambient lighting away from the tank. Maybe you have to cover up a window. Maybe you have to move the tank completely. For those that keep your tank inside a garage and there's no ambient light, or a basement, or a room that doesn't have any windows, and you're still having that issue, check to see if you're leaving your light on for 10, 12, 13 hours a day. That's no bueno. Think about the sun, and when it's rising, they'll get a shadowing effect till it reaches a certain point. The sun stays at a certain point and sets. As it's setting, you're getting a shadowing effect. So there's not direct sunlight on these fish, even in the wild, for 14 hours a day. So I hope you all enjoyed your vacations, your Thanksgiving, the weekend. I hope you enjoyed football. I thank you so much for tuning in. I thank you so much for watching, subscribing, for unsubscribing, liking, sharing, going to the website, checking out the information that's on there, purchasing the t-shirts to get them out into the community. I'm so very thankful for it. But instead of being Motel 8, we'll leave the light on for you. Turn your light off. You know what's next. Holla! And there he is. The fish that has killed them all. He is a monster. I had to put him in this tank. You can actually see him now. He is the one that has destroyed everything. This fish is from the cichlid shack. It's no fault to the cichlid shack. He just decided to get nasty and awoken by the light. So there you have it, folks. The monster that has killed almost 6 fish. And there's some special footage of the tank that I'm growing out. All right. Thanks. Whoop, whoop.